Sometimes people think that domestic violence is a small problem, but it's a huge problem in this community as well as communities throughout our nation. And it happens across all of society.
I remember that day that when he went to go see the kids, like the hour that the judge granted him, it was the longest hour of my life, regardless if it was a public place or not. I felt he was going to hurt my children and that he was going to take off and I would never see my kids again.
The mode of threat that he gave to me was very real to me. When you're alone on the ranch feeding the horses, I'm going to kill you then. Everything he knew that I did. Subsequent to, he would tell me that he knew where I was and what I was doing. So all of that becomes very real when you're getting threatened to be killed or raped, and then this perpetrator knows where you are and what you're doing. I would hide in the back of my home with a cell phone and a knife and my children sleeping in their rooms, hoping nothing happened.
I was scared because my dad used to yell at us.
Before Marty's place, I was just kind of torn in half, and I didn't really know who was telling the truth or like if any of the threats were actually going to be put into motion. And it was just really, really scary for a 5-year-old little girl.
We know as professionals when children are exposed to domestic violence, that will affect them adversely for the rest of their lives. Mary's Place provides a place where children can be safely transported from one parent to another when there's a threat of domestic violence. In addition, Mary's Place can supervise parenting time when there are potential threats of harm to children, and that is not something that's easy to come by.
I myself didn't used to think that a parent should have access to their kids if they've been violent, and my view on that has really changed over the years.
Fathers who have used violence need some kind of motivation. Human beings need motivations for change. It's important for a father who's used violence to be able to see his children because it may be his greatest motivation for change.
To turn my life around, or the thing that turned my life around, I had to like myself first. And I didn't like myself. When you're a meth addict, you don't really like anybody. You like the drug dealer who has the bag. And that's the priority in your life. And up until that point, my children weren't my priority in my life.
She had a restraining order on me, and I had a violation restraining order because I was trying to go over and see Arlissa at her house. Got in trouble for it and spent 5 weeks in jail, and that was probably the longest 5 weeks of my entire life. When I first started going to Mary's Place, I hated it. I hated everything about it. I didn't understand why I was there. I didn't see why I needed a babysitter just to see my own child. But they just over and over and over again, they just kept repeating, you just kept explaining to me, this is so you can build a bond with your daughter. And, you know, we're not here to punish you, or it was just, we're just here to help. And they did.
The first visit was intimidating, you know. You're with your kids for 5 years, 2 years. Physically, I don't think I was there mentally. And then I get out of prison and I'm got 3 years clean and I'm a different person, and here come your 2 kids that you don't even know if they know who you are. So yeah, it's a little tough, to say the least. I did heal at Mary's Place. I came in, you know, like I said, I tried healing myself in prison, and began liking myself, and but there was a lot of hurt that I caused in my family's life and my kids, and it was a way of me to show my children that I'm dad and I'm better than the monster they remember, than the mean guy throwing stuff or yelling or sending them to their rooms. Mary's Place gives you that time to be a dad and gradually work into it. You can't just walk in and I'm dad and put the hammer down, and it doesn't work like that. Mary's Place gives you the opportunity to grow as a person, to heal and grow as a dad.
I pretty much watched her grow up in Mary's Place. But like I said, without Mary's Place, I wouldn't have been able to watch that. I would take the Alfalfa Road, which is 38 miles. I ended up walking that whole stupid thing. Rain, snow, who cares? I'm going to see my little girl. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get there one way or another.
Every kid has a dream. Every kid wants to be somebody, wants to do something.
I looked at my report card and my grades were going up after using Mary's Place.
I felt safe. It was one of these places where I would come and I knew my children were safe and that I was safe, regardless of whatever attitude he came with.
It was such a relief. I felt that people finally understood. I hadn't told anybody about what this man had done. I think I had told one person. So to come into a place where people listened to you, believed you, and comforted you, and were there for the children, and I cannot express to you, it was life-changing for my children, for our process from that day forward.
Doesn't matter if you're the visiting parent or the one dropping them off for the visit. You know your kids are going to be safe, and that's a very big deal. It should be a very big deal for both parties.
Mary's Place has a tremendous and positive impact on Central Oregon.
I think that we certainly have prevented many, many people being hurt or possibly killed just by the fact that we're there. And I think we can all be really proud of that.
It's awesome. It really is.
Frankly, I'm not sure there's any walls or any amount of guns or any institutional response that can really match up to just people learning to understand people and cultivating those relationships.